But Lucy is absolutely extraordinary artist. She's a great instructor as well. And we hope to have Lucy one day, maybe in the future, in person for one of our workshops. But we're going to have Lucy take it away. Lucy.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here. My husband is a vet also, actually. That was a lot of years ago, but we got married at 19. He was in the Army, and we moved up to Kentucky for a while, and then eventually came back to Arizona. Anyways, my name is Lucy Dickens. I'm an oil painter, predominantly landscapes and botanical, outdoor Southwest art, botanical. That's what's most collected of mine. So first I would show you on my website a little bit about what I do in my work, and then I can share more about that process and what being an artist means to me, and then I can get into some in progress video. Okay, so this is the Experiencing the Southwest portfolio on my website. And you can actually see this little first one, Radiant Beauty, a new 11 by 14 right behind me here. So a lot of the close-up blooms, sunsets, snow in the desert from our crazy snowstorm a little over a year ago. Also, we have a cabin up in northern Arizona, and we spend a lot of time off-roading and exploring. So a lot of my subject matter comes from all the adventures around my home here and around my cabin in northern Arizona. So one of my favorite things to do, though, is to go on a great vacation and then come back and create a travel journey series from that trip. And every one of my paintings has a story that goes along with it too. And I hope to bring you along on the journey with me, both on canvas and in Word. And so last February, we had the opportunity to go on an African safari, and wildlife is new to me. I hadn't painted any wildlife before last year, and then quickly had an opportunity to share this collection at the Phoenix Zoo. So it's on exhibit at the Phoenix Zoo right now. So who knew I'd have so much fun painting wildlife? But that's an example of taking a travel journey series, a travel journey, and then creating a series from it. And also on my website, any one of these thumbnails, if you double click on them, there's a story that goes with each one. There's a whole story for A Sense of Eden. For me, storytelling has become a huge part of who I am as an artist, and it's hard for me to separate one from the other, the image and the story, and I love to share that with you and hope it helps in your experience. Now I'm going to share with you an in-progress video. Okay. So this one, I basically took a couple of simple photos of my process in creating this painting and then turned it into a slideshow. And I heard mentioned when I first came on, yes, I do start with most of my canvases painted red. I really like the glow throughout the whole painting, and especially painting landscapes and nature. There's a lot of greens and reds, a complementary color to that. And I just think it really ties the whole painting together for me. And so I'll paint it red, then I'll sketch it, paint sketch it, and then go in and I'll start with my darkest darks and my lightest lights. And then my next goal will simply be just to cover the whole canvas just as quickly as I can. And then from there, the whole red canvas, I want to cover all red. And then I'll go back to each area and start building up the layers and refining them further. So that's the first one, and that's just a simple slideshow. And then I have a YouTube channel that I've been developing, and I've also, this is the second time that I tried doing a time-lapse video, so a filming from start to finish. So I started with the red canvas again, and then you can see where I'm paint sketching, and then with that same sienna really it's a transparent red oxide. I'm doing a paint sketching and then getting some value in there, and then I'll start with my darkest darks, lightest lights, and try to get all of the red covered, and then come back and really build up each area and then work on all the detail work. So anyways, this is only my second time-lapse video. I got a huge response from it, so I want to do some more. It is a learning process, including what to wear and what not to wear when you're filming yourself painting. And then also there are a couple of segments where the video gets a little jumpy, and in learning my technology, in those sections I saw that I had the camera set to track me and my movements, as opposed to just stay focused on the painting and the painting process. So this year I intend to work on quite a bit more of these videos and build my skills there, and also be able to record some voiceover and sharing my process. So again, right here, I'm just continuing to build I still call all of this my underpainting. Until all the red's covered, I still call all of it my underpainting. So why do I paint? I've always been drawn to creating. I've always been a creative. My mother, a watercolor artist, and my father, a photographer. And we spent a lot of time outdoors, just exploring the beautiful creation out there. And I just had such a passion for nature and just for watching and studying light and shadow and all the different, all the divine beauty and creation all around us. And I remember the first time I put a brush to canvas, I just had such a strong sense of purpose that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and this is my calling. And so I've worked to develop my skills, and then that evolved into storytelling. And I remember a number of years ago, I was down on a mission trip in Rocky Point, Mexico. We were doing a house build for a family down there. And there was a trash heap pile next to the job site build. I went over there digging, literally digging through the entire dirt trash heap, trying to find anything beautiful, anything I could use. I came across broken pieces of pottery and curbing, like some rounded stone curbing pieces, and thought, well, we're going to be pouring them a stoop for the out in front of the door. Maybe I can crush some pottery into there and make a mosaic, and maybe I can find enough of the curbing to make a pathway up to the house, and maybe I can use the gravel left over that's sifted out to make the stucco and make a gravel pathway. And as I'm thinking through all this and hunting for beauty amongst the trash, I heard very, very strongly in my heart, in my spirit, you're to be a bringer of light and beauty. And so I actually have that posted next to my easel, and that's become just a huge part of who I am as an artist and who I am as a person, that I'm really seeking and striving to bring light and beauty and hope and encouragement and a sense of grace. All of these things captured in my painting and my stories. In fact, I actually start all of my paintings and all of my painting sessions in prayer, not only over the painting itself, but who's going to collect it, and praying over them as well. So for me, my faith in what I see as my calling or my purpose is so intertwined with who I am as an artist. I really can't separate the two. Now I'm working on more refining and detail work here in the leaves. Oh, and here's where it starts to jump around because it's tracking me and not staying on the painting. But fortunately, that will pass shortly. I do have a YouTube channel where I have both the slideshow version and a couple of these in progress time-lapse videos if you want to check out any more of those. I'm using rosemary brushes. I love them. And also my paints are predominantly Gamblin. Paints and products are predominantly Gamblin. The paints, the Gambar varnish, Gamsol is solvent. Gamblin also has a slow dry medium. I personally like to get as much of the painting covered, the canvas covered, and work as long as I possibly can while the paint's wet so that I can get a lot of smooth, soft blends. And then there are times where it'll start to set up too much and get tacky, and then I have to wait for it to dry, and then I'll go back in and do further detail work at that point. I use other paints as well, Grumbacher, and I'm starting to experiment with some Utrecht colors. There's not much depth in this painting because the water is super shallow, but I am trying to work on the shadows and movements and try to get some sense of depth of the leaves sitting on top of the water. What first draws me to want to paint something, whether it's landscape or botanical, something like this, is that interplay of light and shadow. I'm always drawn to what's the light hitting and what's hiding in the shadows. You can see by my work, I'm really drawn to painting not only strong light and shadow, but also vibrant color. It's just the way I see the world, I suppose. Does anyone have any questions while this is continuing to play?
Lucy, is this all oil or is this acrylic?
Yes, it is oil. I started in acrylic, painted in acrylic for about 4 years, and then I switched to oil. I was really surprised at the time how big the learning curve was in switching. The mediums are just so very different with the first of all, how fast acrylic paints dry, and then also how opaque they are as opposed to oil, and all of the rich transparent layers, which is a challenge when you're first starting out because you can get the colors muddy pretty easily. But once I evolved through that learning process, and I'm still learning, I'll always be learning, but I absolutely love oil. I'm so glad I made the change. This painting is called When the Leaves Fall, and it is at Xanadu Gallery, their Pine Top location in northern Arizona, actually along with my aspen trees, the previous video that we just watched, the invitation. Both of those are on display and available at Xanadu Gallery, and I just found out they're opening back up this Saturday. You'll see from the gallery I showed you, I paint a lot of the desert in bloom in the springtime, and coming back to really wanting to bring a sense of hope and light. I just love that all of our cactus out there bloom and in such harsh conditions with the heat and the needles and the thorns, and for me it's kind of a life parable. No matter the darkness or the harshness, that the seasons change and spring comes and light prevails. And there you have it, the final painting, When the Leaves Fall.
That's extraordinary.
Thank you.
That's wonderful, Lucy.
Thank you very much.
How long have you been painting?
I've been creating all my life. Like I said, with my mom a painter and my dad a photographer, I've been creating all of my life. Started with pencil sketching, and then my husband and I married at 19. He went in the Army. So for that time period, I had to set aside my my artwork and work on our family and growing a business with my husband. And then feeling very stifled, not having that creative outlet, I did come back to creating, and that's when I started painting. So I really didn't start painting until, I don't know, 15 years ago, I want to say. So, hey, you never know what you can do. And so I don't have a formal arts education. I try to be the sponge and learn anything and everything I can. I take various workshops. I make sure to take 1 or 2 workshops a year. I think being involved in the Sonoran Art League and all the friendships through the various artists and critiques has been very helpful. And then trying to learn as much as I can through visiting galleries and YouTube videos, painting videos, or books, or teaching. I'll order DVDs from artists that I really admire or respect from their teaching. So I'm just always trying to learn every and any way that I can to further my craft.
Any questions?
Lucy, hi, it's Larry. Do you use any particular red for your?
Yeah. Yes. Alizarin crimson and cad red light predominantly. Occasionally
Okay.
I'll use a regular cad red, but more often than not, it's alizarin crimson and cad red light.
Okay, thank you.
But then I'm adjusting them always by mixing a little bit of different colors with them.
How long does it take for you for one piece? Like the one behind you, how long did it take?
Well, this one being a smaller one and something that I paint fairly frequently, the cactus blooms, that was probably 3 sittings. So in my schedule, I block out painting time every weekday morning, and often I come back in the afternoons and paint for much of the day too. So probably 3 days for that one, not full days. But I don't really keep track of the hours I spend. I would say I'm trying to hit an average of 3 paintings per month, but that's been a goal for a long time. I still don't consistently hit that. But last year, when I was challenged to create this safari series for the zoo, I had to complete 15 paintings between March and November 1st, all of those, and that Eden painting is huge. And so not only did I have to create all of those paintings, and I'd never painted wildlife before, but I also needed plenty of new work for Hidden in the Hills too. So that was an insane pace for me. Thankfully, I have an assistant, and I also had someone helping with cooking, so I could just paint. And then I was hitting that goal during that time, but that was quite a pace.
And you were in Hidden in the Hills. Did anyone go see Lucy's studio during Hidden in the Hills?
I did.
Oh, good.
Did you like it, Shelley?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Thank you. We love doing Hidden in the Hills. I've been involved for. I'm starting to lose track. I think I've done it for. Well, I know I have for at least 8 years. And the first 4 years, Beth Cox, she's an amazing gourd artist. She was the host studio. I was a guest studio. And then we moved to Carefree, and I built this gallery and studio space under roof at my house. I'm by Carefree Highway and Scottsdale Road. And I've been hosting here ever since. So I've hosted 4 here at my place. And by the way, my gallery and studio is open by appointment all the time. And because of doing so much with Hidden in the Hills, a lot of people know, like yesterday, super exciting. I had a lady come who's been visiting me during Hidden in the Hills for a long time. And she's only ever collected 3 small frame giclée canvas prints. But she called me over the weekend and said she's been saving and wants to buy her first original. And do I still have Looking for Wonderland? It's a painting with a bunny rabbit in the desert. And she came over yesterday, and I had actually 2 of them with the bunnies. She loves bunnies, and she ended up buying both of them.
Congratulations, Lucy. That's wonderful.
Yes.
What I missed what you had said about the red. Why do you start a lot of them in red? Does it make the colors more vibrant? So I must have been on the.
Sure. Well, many, many years ago, I took a workshop, and it was actually by John Horsch, who is the father of Jason Horsch, owner of Xanadu Gallery. And he does an underpainting of red. It's the alizarin crimson. Well, it can vary. Sometimes there's cad red light. Anyway, so during the workshop, I tried that. I did that with a couple of sunsets, and I just really loved the uniform glow through the whole painting, tying everything together. And then I started experimenting with doing that under my landscapes. And with, well, one, it kills the glaring white canvas. And some of you may know, you paint a painting and then you have these little mist areas with little white spots of canvas showing through. So with an underpainting, you kill all that white canvas, and so you eliminate that issue. And then I just really liked, with it, red being the complementary color to the greens, just that warmth and glow I found throughout my landscapes with the red underpainting.
That's wonderful. Do you use any other colors as a base? I mean, would you use a purple or?
I haven't, no. Occasionally skip to the red, like I skipped to the red in this one. And it probably was just because I was a little lazy and just wanted to get at it. But for the most part, I like every one of those safari paintings. If you go back on my website and look on them, every single one of them started with a red canvas. And now that I say that, if you go back into my work on my website and really look, you'll be able to see the red peeking through here and there through many of the paintings. But it's very subtle. It's not something you probably would catch had I not shared that.
Wonderful. Anyone else, guys? We have a quiet bunch. Wow. Jerry, I know you have a question, Jerry.
I have a question for Lucy, or I'd like to say something to Lucy. First, just
No.
I'm here.
anyhow, thanks for the class. And one thing we learned is you start with a big outline and work in. And that's just what she did there. And I noticed, I guess I'd say that maybe the better artists, they really do a lot of detailing, a whole lot more than I would ever do. So anyhow, interesting. Thank you.
Thank you. I love your beautiful palm tree setting.
All right. Well, we're all going to say thank you so much. Big round of applause for Lucy.
Thank you.
Lucy,
Thank you.
this was wonderful. And again, Lucy has a YouTube channel. You can probably go onto her website. I believe you have a newsletter as well, or?
Yes, I have a monthly newsletter and there's a sign up on there that I send out each month with my new stories, my new paintings and their stories, any event information, and also if I do any of this in progress videos, that kind of thing would be there. And I have a Facebook page and an Instagram page as well that I share my work through.
Perfect. Well, we encourage everybody to sign up and follow Lucy. And one day we hope, without putting Lucy on the spot, we'll get her into the workshop facility. So bye, Lucy. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Stay
you.
well.